Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Universal Transcendent. My talent is multiplied by 1,000 times. Chapter 21. Into the night. It's past 9 o'clock. Zhou Yu, who settled in the genius base, changed his clothes and prepared to start practicing. This genius base is indeed a place to cultivate geniuses. After coming here, Zhou Yu could feel it. The original richness here is at least 10 times that of the outside. It is an excellent practice place. Just as Zhou Yupin sat down, there was a knock on the door. Opening the door, a tall and graceful woman with red hair and a long snow-white dress stood at Zhou Yu's door. "Your Excellency Zhou Yu, I'm here to serve you," the woman said to Zhou Yu with a smile on her face. Zhou Yu inspected this young woman with a slight astonishment. "Ah, I didn't order this kind of service. Does the genius training base still have this kind of service? This is also humanized." The woman's face froze. "Isn't your talent a growth talent? You need to kill to grow your attributes. And I, a summoner, can summon dark creatures for you to kill, so as to obtain an increase in attributes." That's it. Zhou Yu was stunned. It turned out to be a professional summoning service. This is simply feeding soldiers into my mouth. Sure enough, the cultivation of genius bases has a good effect. If Zhou Yu finds the dark creature by himself, kill it. That would take at least half a day or so. And now, there is a summoner who specially cooperates with Zhou Yu to grow his attributes. That half hour is enough. You kill dark creatures and grow your own attributes. Do you need quantity or quality? The woman said. The numbers should be sufficient, but not too weak. The 5th, 6th level is the best. After thinking for a while, Zhou Yu replied. Before, when Zhou Yu fought and killed, kill those 3 4th level dark goblins and kill the dozen level skeletons. There is still a slight gap in the growth obtained by the two. But in general the perception is not very obvious. Therefore, sufficient quantity is enough. On the contrary, Zhou Yu had a lot of trouble after summoning things too powerfully. Okay, the woman who understood Zhou Yu's intentions began to recruit 5th, 6th level dark creatures one after another from the depths of the dungeon. There's dark goblins, dark kobolds, and some other types of dark creatures like slimes, skeletons, vipers, etc. After the kill, these dark creatures turned into dark energy and quickly disappeared. Zhou Yu, on the other hand, has already harvested a large amount of life integrity attributes. After killing more than 200 people, only then did Zhou Yu feel the swelling feeling emerge. Enough. Zhou Yu nodded to the woman. Is more than 200 enough? It seems to be less than expected. The woman thought to herself. In the afternoon, Zhou Yu performed in the steam hall of the genius training base. It has already spread in the genius training base. Almost a heaven-defying defense. Incomparably powerful life frankness. So much so that the output of the A-level genius, Ian, in the same rank segment is completely scraping. This talent's performance was like an earthquake in the Koan City State base. Almost everyone now knows that Zhou Yu has a super tough defense. And her, Franya, was a professional summoner who was arranged to summon dark creatures for Zhou Yu to kill. After all, the time of such a genius is usually very precious. Don't waste your time going underground looking for dark creatures to kill. Before that, she had consulted a lot of information. Knowing some powerful, killing growth, talents, the number of killings is often the better. The more kills, the higher the relative growth. It is said that it is a training base in the temple of Transcendent, the sun god. The number of kills of some growth geniuses is often over 1,000. Even if it is weaker, it will kill 600 or 700. As for Zhou Yu, he peaked at 200 kills. Obviously, there is still a certain gap with those S-level, SS-level or even SSS-level geniuses. Too bad she didn't know that. Zhou Yu's talent is a huge improvement of 1,000 times. Okay, in the future, every night at night, I will come to summon dark creatures for you to kill. Before leaving, the woman responded like this. It really is a very humane service. Zhou Yu secretly said. Before I knew it, it was already late at night. Zhou Yu sat cross-legged on the bed, looking through the many items in the Genius Mall. At this time, what Zhou Yu was looking at were a lot of treasures that improved the talent category. From the outside, Zhou Yu's talent is remarkable. But it was the situation that Zhou Yu knew very well. This is the case with the blessing of the system. In fact, Zhou Yu is just an ordinary person. An E-level talent is truly mediocre, not an exaggeration at all. And now, what Zhou Yu wants to do is to improve talent. Transcendent talent is not a level that remains unchanged, but can also be improved. Through some special treasures, raising the foundation of talent, improving transcendent qualifications, etc., are all ways to improve transcendent talent. E-level talent is very ordinary. But if it gets promoted to D rank, it's pretty good. Under 1,000-fold increase, the effect exploded. If you go one step further, you will reach the C-level level of a C-level senior. With 1,000-fold increase, it would be even more exaggerated. The reason why Zhou Yu was able to rank among the geniuses of the Corn City State. Main C-level talent, excellent performance of Grasp of the Undying. At that time, it would be even better for Zhou Yu to awaken another C-level talent himself. Star Spirit Fruit. After rummaging around, Zhou Yu finally set his sights on this transcendent fruit. Star Fruit. It is a special fruit born in the transcendent starry sky. It is said to contain the power of star. It can cleanse the body and transform the aptitude. It's worth about 5,000 transcendent coins each. Well, let's buy 2 first. If the effect is good, you can continue to buy 2 more. Early morning. Zhou Yu, who was sitting cross-legged in cultivation, slowly opened his eyes. He squeezed his fist slightly. Amazing power surged out from his body. Probably about 3 times the power of the basic physical body. And yesterday, it was still about twice the basic strength. In a different environment, this cultivation speed is indeed completely different from before. I don't know how many levels my transcendent level can directly increase after inheriting the transcendent sequence occupation. Then again, I've already been among the geniuses, but I've inherited the transcendent profession, but there's been no movement. Maybe they've forgotten about it. And I remember that in the genius training contract, it also said that every transcendent genius will be trained by a professional instructor. My teacher hasn't shown up yet. Something is wrong. Talent training base. Every genius has his own small manner for cultivation. Zhou Yu is no exception. After breakfast, Zhou Yu came to the open space of the practice field. Zhao Moshan took many guards and stationed in every corner of the cultivation manor. Zhao Moshan Sr. Zhou Yu looked at Zhao Moshan. Didn't it mean that there will be a mentor who will personally guide me to practice? What about people? Zhao Moshan smiled. Your Highness Zhou Yu, you don't need to be in a hurry. As far as I know, the one who taught you is Master Alec. He should be here today. Alec. Zhou Yu was startled when he heard that. Alec. Zhou Yu is very clear. This existence called Alec is the pride of the Corn City State. More than 20 years ago, an S-class genius who left the city-state of Koan. All famous figures in the temple of the sun god Transcendent. The city-state of Korn is even more stable because of Alec, an S-level genius. To this day, Alec's influence on the Corn city-state is still enormous. However, Zhou Yu also knew that Alec committed a crime in the temple of the sun god Transcendent and was expelled. But this does not affect its reputation in the Corn city-state in the slightest. To this day, many geniuses in the Corn city-state still regard Alec as an idol. Didn't expect, own tutor. It turned out to be such a talented person. After a long time, Zhou Yu gradually digested this amazing fact. I always feel that Corn city-state seems to be hiding something. A-level genius, can you attract a big man like Alec to return, and then teach him personally? While thinking about it, Zhou Yu suddenly realized. They must have hidden my talent report. This is definitely not the treatment that A-level geniuses can enjoy. I just don't know if it's AA rank, S rank, or SS rank. Zhou Yu is guessing. Zhao Moshan continued. And His Highness Zhou Yu's transcendent profession will also arrive today. Transcendent career. Arrival. Is this transcendent job brought from outside? Now Zhou Yu was even more sure. Those people from the Transcendent Research Institute definitely hid their own talent. Then Ian's professional inheritance is the treatment of an A-level genius. However, the own transcendent profession needs to be obtained from the outside world. But that's fine too. The higher the talent, the better the treatment will be if he is valued. Zhou Yu was thinking about it. Boom! The roar of steam came from the sky. Zhou Yu looked up. A huge steam airship broke into the city-state of Korn like a monster in the sky at a height of 100 meters. The inner area of the Corn City State is a no-fly zone. And the only person who is qualified to fly here is the City Lord of the Corn City State, Kano Corn. Looking at the beast-like steam airship in the sky, Zhao Moshan smiled. It seems that His Highness Zhou Yu's transcendent career has arrived. The transcendent sequence obtained by the City Lord himself. Zhou Yu narrowed his eyes slightly. Just like Zhao Moshan explained. Half an hour after the City Lord's steam airship crossed the sky, Zhao Moshan received the notice and took Zhou Yu to the Transcendent Inheritance Altar. The inheritance of the Transcendent sequence has certain dangers. However, the Transcendent Altar can greatly reduce this danger. The more powerful the Transcendent occupation, the higher the level of danger. Zhou Yu didn't dare to underestimate him either. Under the leadership of Zhao Moshan, after the inspection of the 3 checkpoint corridors, Zhou Yu arrived at the Transcendent Inheritance Altar deep underground. At this time, many people are guarding here. The leader of this group of people is the City Lord of the Corn Steam City State, Kano Corn. The few people beside him, Zhou Yu had also seen in the school daily newspaper. Hong Tianyi, the Dean of the Transcendent Research Institute. Asania, the night watchman at the helm of the Corn City City-State City Wall. Basically all the top figures in the city-state of Koan are here. It is impossible for an A-level genius to receive such treatment. I've seen the Lord City Master. Zhou Yu, who followed Zhao Moshan, saluted the City Master Kano Kern. City Lord Kern nodded slightly, and began to talk. Zhou Yu, your transcendent job is for Steam Knight. Are you aware of the dangers of this special transcendent occupation in the age of the plane? Across the star, the steam sequence of sirens roaring in the plane. Even Zhou Yu had guessed before. But I never thought of it. What I have inherited is the top transcendent sequence of the Noodle Era Steam Knight. I know a very small part, probably limited to the literal meaning of this transcendent sequence. Zhou Yu said truthfully. What a joke. A powerful special transcendent sequence at this level of the plane hierarchy. Zhou Yu said that all he knew was his name. As for the core of the transcendent sequence, Zhou Yu is not qualified to know it at all. Zhou Yu's answer made the surrounding big shots smile. Hong Tianyi, director of the Transcendent Research Institute, spoke at this time. Zhou Yu, the steam sequence, is a powerful sequence that our world has come into contact with after the start of the plane era. I can tell you clearly that the Steam Knight is a powerful sequence that can shake the entire plane. Of course, whether you can grow to that level depends on your own cultivation. The core of the steam is the steam spirit body. The core of a knight is control and mastery. The combination of the two is the key to this Steam Knight. You need to control the steam spirit body of this sequence, and digest and master it. There are difficulties, but for you, it shouldn't be a big problem. Now, you carry on the inheritance first, and later, your mentor will give you normal guidance. Yes, Zhou Yu nodded. Walk towards the inheritance altar. Inside the altar, Zhou Yu looked at the treasure of the Steam Knight sequence on the altar. It looks like a steam engine. However, the structure of the whole body and the design of the system are very ingenious. Gives a feeling of perfection. Woo woo. At this time, this treasure of the Steam Knight sequence was making a slight roar. It seems to break free from the shackles of this altar. This treasure seems to have own life consciousness. Zhou Yu stuck it up with one hand. Immediately, the steam sequence treasure began to resist Zhou Yu, not wanting Zhou Yu to infiltrate and master its core power. If you don't talk, just make a call. Simple yet philosophical approach. On the spiritual level, Zhou Yu launched a violent attack. Under the 1,000-fold increase of the grip of immortality, Zhou Yu's soul defense was equally powerful. When own soul defense is strong, the frontal collision only needs to be within Zhou Yu's tolerance. No matter how many times there were collisions, the impact on Zhou Yu was weak. And whether the other party can last in this violent collision, that was clearly a no. Boom. With this wave of violent collision. Woo woo. The sequential treasure let out a low whining sound. But still expressed the meaning of resistance. There is nothing that can't be solved with a beating. If there is, then another beating. Zhou Yu launched an impact for the second time. Boom. What? How dare you resist? Come again. Boom. Dissatisfied. Continue. After 5 or 6 consecutive collisions. Woo woo. The deep roar was no longer a resistance, but an aggrieved begging for mercy. The people around couldn't help smiling when they saw that Zhou Yu used such a simple and rude method. Spirituality is an extension of the soul. But the soul of a normal human being is not powerful, it can even be said to be very weak. This also leads to the need for human beings to carefully resist the impact of the sequence during the inheritance. Find ways to complete the absorption of the sequence. At the same time, it is necessary to resist the potential distortion of the weird level and the risk of losing control. But Zhou Yu is fine. Direct anti-customer oriented. Going up is simple and rude. Just give the treasures of the Transcendent sequence honestly. If only everyone was like Zhou Yu. Then the inheritance of the Transcendent sequence, where is there any risk at all? Pity, only a freak like Zhou Yu dared to do this. Others dared to do it. I'm afraid that he will die suddenly on the spot. I know that this person in front of me is too fierce. The consciousness of the Transcendent sequence lay flat without any resistance. And Zhou Yu's spirituality permeates it. Started the absorption and digestion of the Transcendent sequence. Didn't it mean that the inheritance of the Transcendent sequence is dangerous? Distortion, loss of control, and even indescribable interference. Why is there nothing? Since that's the case, then the inheritance of the Transcendent sequence, doesn't it just have to be handed? Just started. Zhou Yu still took the initiative to absorb. And following the Transcendent sequence, Zhou Yu seemed to feel Zhou Yu's vigorous physique and blood like a scorching sun. They rushed towards Zhou Yu's body on their own initiative. Take the initiative to help Zhou Yu open up a steam space. Autonomously merged with the Zhou in the body. Dage, you lie down, I'll do it myself. At this time, Zhou Yu even felt such a slight idea expressed by the Transcendent sequence. This steam night sequence is too good. Feeling the wonderful sequence idea. Zhou Yu was a little taken aback. At this time, other people also noticed this wonderful scene. Everyone was astonished. Human and sequence are not the same. Human beings are living beings. The sequence is the regular body of the world. The living body masters the regular body. This is a climbing process. But this time it was completely reversed. This scene of overturning common sense was reflected in Zhou Yu. It's been a long time, it's an eye-opener. If the Transcendent sequence was so active, I wouldn't have lost my soul when I was inheriting the sequence. At this moment, City Lord Qin couldn't help feeling emotional. It's indeed a bit too extraordinary. Hong Tianyi at the side was also amazed. I'm now guessing that Zhou Yu might be an SSS level existence. Unknowingly, more than half an hour has passed. Open black lens bracket steam night close black lens bracket with the steam sequence fit perfectly with Zhou Yu. A brand new steam night was born. Don't upgrade yet. It feels like the steam sequence is going to be transformed and promoted. A thought surged in Zhou Yu's mind. The sequence core was obedient and did not upgrade immediately. Zhou Yu immediately used the system treasure 2-star sequence card that had been hidden in his cuff for a long time. This mighty steam sequence, just 1 star. But as a plain level sequence, its 1-star rating is probably stronger than other ordinary sequences' 3-star or even 4-star rating. Use 2-star serial cards. Zhou Yu can advance this 1-star sequence to 2-star. 2-star sequence growth, the improvement effect will be about 30% more than 1 star. Promote it to 2 stars first. If the level is improved, the effect will obviously be even higher. No one will turn down more properties. With the use of 2-star cards, the core of the sequence seems to be filled with cheers. Obviously, the promotion of the sequence is nothing more important to the sequence body than this. Let's upgrade, Zhou Yu thought. Hum. 5 consecutive milky white rays of light bloomed on Zhou Yu's body. Just became a steam knight. Zhou Yu directly promoted to 5th level. With every 1st level birth, Zhou Yu could feel his own strength, physique, soul, and the transcendent force in his body were all improving rapidly. As for life frankness, physical defense, and soul defense, it is very little progress. After all, Zhou Yu's life frankness has reached about 1,000 times that of normal people. This 5th level improvement, in the face of this terrifying range, the effect is really mediocre. With such an improvement, Zhou Yu's strength has grown explosively. The sequence of inheritance has come to an end. Zhou Yu left the inheritance altar under the protection of Zhao Moshan and others. But Zhou Yu's performance in inheritance. But it is still talked about by many viewers. either with a spiritually suicidal shock sequence. In other words, the Transcendent sequence is actively fused. In other words, during the last continuous upgrade, Zhou mastered the stable characteristics of the sequence. They were all amazed. Escalation of the Transcendent sequence. Each process, relatively speaking, has a certain degree of risk. And what Zhou has mastered is the steam sequence at the plane level. The level of danger is higher. But Zhou's grasp of that sequence was as solid as a rock. Just when everyone was in Zhou's strange state, a piece of good news, mixed with bad news, has arrived. The good news is, Alec, this guy is finally back. And the bad news is, Alec was hurt, and it was a serious injury. Corn Steam City State. Inside the steam convalescent warehouse of the City Lord's mansion. An almost distorted humanoid, in the recuperation warehouse, pregnant and raising. Alec at this moment was miserable. The left leg was completely severed at the thigh. The bones in both hands were all broken, twisted like twists. As for his head, it is completely gone. On the chest, there is even a huge hole like the mouth of a bull. The organs in the chest cavity have basically been completely shattered. You can't even tell if it's a corpse or a person. If it weren't for Alec's transcendent spirit body, it would be complete and powerful enough. Then he would never be able to return to the Corn City state. Check out this steam room. Kano Koen frowned slightly. This steam convalescent cabin was exchanged for Kano Kern's military exploits on the extraterritorial battlefield. If it is not for owning this recuperation warehouse, even if Alec came back after being caught, his strength would be affected. Even from now on, it will ruin the future. At this time, in order to repair Alec, nearly 1/5 of the transcendent substance reserve in this recuperation warehouse has been consumed. From the looks of it, at least 3/5 of the transcendent substance would be consumed to restore Alec. It's not bad if it can be saved. Even though it hurts a little, Kano Koen can only think of it helplessly. How did you do this? Met a transcendent creature. You shouldn't provoke those horrible guys again when you are on your way in the spirit world. Looking at the broken corpse in front of him, Kano Koen spoke in a deep voice. How is it possible? How could I provoke those guys? A mellow voice sounded. Alec, who is a transcendent with a complete spiritual body, has no problem communicating with Kano Koen. Then how did you manage to be beaten like this? When I arrived in Corn City State, I met a steam wizard. Alex said helplessly. Steam wizard. Kano Koen's expression changed. Steam wizard. The extraordinary presence of steam sequences. Mastered the means and ability to transform the plane. In the plane world, many powerful forces. They all have a certain number of steam wizards in their hands. Those transcendents of the steam sequence, after laying down a transcendent world. There will be steam wizards to transform the world. Transform the world into a suitable world for them to live in, then colonize and occupy. I saw that guy was obviously looking for something in the city-state of Kern, and he had no bad intentions. I just went up to remind him in good faith, and hoped that he would not do anything in our Corn City state. Listen to Alec's story. Kano Koen frowned slightly. Are you sure it's a kind reminder? Hey, if a sneak attack can be regarded as a reminder, then obviously it is. Alex smiled. I knew it. Kano Koen obviously guessed Alex's explanation a long time ago. Although I am miserable, I am also a certified strong person in the Temple of the Sun. That guy, if there is no accident, should be dead. Of course, you also know that there are more wizard sequence methods, so that guy should have survived, otherwise he wouldn't be so desperate with me. However, that guy will probably not dare to approach our Corn City state again. Alex said quite confidently. Meeting you guy, that steam wizard is really unlucky. After thinking for a while, Kano Koen shook his head and said. Hey, I'm using my life to defend the safety of the Corn City state, but you're still facing outsiders. But you also successfully offended a powerful enemy for the Corn City state. An enemy that only you and I can face. The steam wizard is just looking for something in the Corn City state, you shouldn't attack him. Even, that steam wizard is most likely just passing by. After your little vault is stolen by that steam wizard, you won't say that. Alex slandered. Okay, you will probably be able to recover tomorrow. Kano Koen broke off his wrangling with Alec on the subject. When the time comes, you have to train that Joyu well. That Joyu is not simple, Kano Koen said in a rather deep tone. Judging from the attributes he exhibited, our side can't even determine if it's SS class. It is very likely to be SSS level. Even, possibly higher. Higher. Alex's tone rose a little. I feel like you're joking, but I don't have any proof. Our plane, although we have an original connection with the high-level plane, is only an intermediate plane after all. The upper limit of the mid-level plane is the SSS level. And above the SSS level, the gap between the SSS level and the SSS level is huge, you know better than me. A large number of planes of SSS level talents appear every year, and only then can existences beyond SSS level be born. And our plane, the SSS level, has not been born for how many years? The basic theory doesn't hold water at all. But then again, just one SS rank talent is worth giving up my lucrative job and running back with a steam airship overnight. If it's an SSS class, we will have to follow him when we enter the battlefield in the future. Alex said. All right, Kano Koen spread his hands. This Joyu's talent is very heaven-defying, and at the same time he is quite special. Speaking of which, Kano Koen told about Joyu's acceptance of the Steam Night sequence before. You have to train well, don't do the extreme training before. Kano Koen said. Extreme training is a good way to develop his transcendent potential to the extreme. But it will also cause transcendence to fall early. Can't you not mention this pot? Alex said helplessly. You only need to promise that you will not be on Joyu's body, do any extreme training, death pulling, desperate breakthrough, etc. I swear, I will never bring up this matter again in the future. Okay, I swear, I won't apply what you just said to Joyu. Alex said. But, I will develop some new routines. Alex said silently in his heart. Okay, you can rest in peace. Kano Koen said so. In addition, Kano Koen, who was about to leave, suddenly stopped and turned to look at Alec. The battlefield outside the territory is getting more and more intense. Even existences at the level of Transcendent Masters have begun to fall on a certain scale. I think, it won't be long before I may be selected and enter the battlefield. Alec paused. Probably not. You only came back 5 years ago, so it shouldn't be that fast. That depends on the side of the battlefield, the speed of Master Transcendent's fall. If the number of fallen is large enough and fast enough, the time when I was recruited may be brought forward. Us lower Transcendent Masters, many times, we can't help ourselves. If I can be promoted to a mid-level Transcendent Master, I don't have to be too afraid of entering the Transcendent battlefield outside the domain. But it's still difficult for me to break through the level 110. Your level 120 should be fast. Well, it's almost there. How's the progress? Progress 0%. Kano Koen. You should rest well. Although Joyu's grades were not very good when he was studying at Transcendent College. However, Joyu of the Transcendent sequence still has a lot of understanding. The essence of Transcendent sequence practice is to absorb the essence of heaven and earth, temper the body, strengthen the soul, and make the body transcendent. Then reach the Transcendent metamorphosis, that is, the upgrade of the level. And the steam sequence. As the age of the plane era, it is called a powerful sequence in the plane. Its walk has a routine that is completely different from conventional practice. First, steam sequence, after getting the steam transcendent career inheritance, will open own steam space. Steam space itself is a manifestation of talent. This also caused Joyu to obtain the effect of 1,000 times increase when he opened up the steam space. The original steam space was only the size of a desk. And with the 1,000-fold increase, the transcendent space directly becomes the existence of a huge villa space level. This huge steam space is also one of the reasons why the steam sequence moved closer to Joyu. The larger the steam space, the higher the level cap and the easier the breakthrough. At the same time, the huge steam space contains more powerful steam source power. And in the steam space, Joyu's steam spirit body, the serial body like a steam engine. This moment, in the steam space, roaring sounds continued. Occasionally a siren sounded. Joyu's steam spirit body continuously absorbs and devours the steam source power, boosting own at the same time. It is also constantly improving Zhou Yu Transcendent's physique. Yes, even if Zhou Yu doesn't practice, the steam spirit body, like a steam engine, would run on its own, allowing Zhou Yu to continuously upgrade his level. Even, to a certain extent, it will break through by itself. After opening up the steam space and mastering the steam sequence will be self-cultivation. Yes, that's the power of steam sequences. This is also the charm of the steam sequence. Sitting cross-legged in his practice, Zhou Yu felt the transcendent spirit body, like a steam engine. Still can't help feeling slightly. Sure enough, it is a mature sequence, and I can already cultivate by myself. Compared to other people's steam sequence, everyone's steam sequence will be automatically cultivated. But I still have a huge advantage over everyone else. First of all, my steam space is huge, and the recovery speed of transcendent steam is amazing. This makes my automatic cultivation speed exaggerated. Since I got the transcendent sequence yesterday, my level has been automatically raised from 5th level to 6th level this morning. Tomorrow, it is estimated that you will be able to automatically upgrade to 7th level. This upgrade speed is completely unmatched by others. At the same time, the larger the steam space, the larger the volume of the steam spirit body. In other transcendent sequences, big body, not necessarily strong. And in the steam sequence, big is the only truth. Can the engine of a car be comparable to that of an aircraft carrier? Cannot. Can the engine of an aircraft carrier be comparable to that of a planet engine? Obviously not. And the steam sequence perfectly brings out this big feature. Equivalence is justice. Body shape is the truth. Steam sequence transcendent steam spirit body, the bigger the body. Then the transcendence of this sequence, the speed, strength, attack power, and even transcendent characteristics are even more astonishing. Even when a transcendent steam sequence, promoted to demigod, its steam spirit body was as big as a city. It can even explode a small plane with bare hands. And this is completely unmatched by other sequences. And this is one of the reasons why the steam sequence can be called a powerful sequence in many planes. The closer to the late stage, the more terrifying the steam sequence. Zhou Yu with the 1000-fold amplification system. Open up steam space with the steam sequence. This increased Zhou Yu's potential in this sequence by 1,000 times. Zhou Yu's spirituality retreated from the steam space. Then Zhou Yu looked aside, a black sealed box. This is the star spirit fruit that Zhou Yu bought from the Genius Mall. Open the sealed box. 2 star spirit fruits, the size of a fist, like bright gemstones, came into view with slightly blooming starlight. With these 2 star spirit fruits, it shouldn't be a big problem for my talent to reach the top E-level level. After all, E-level talent is really inferior. While thinking about it, Zhou Yu put 2 star spirit fruits into the steam spirit body. The steam spirit body is Zhou Yu's transcendent body. Use the steam spirit body to digest this star spirit fruit. It is far better than Zhou Yu digesting the star spirit fruit with his own body. As far as your talent is concerned, if using this kind of fruit has any effect, I am willing to read my name upside down. Just when Zhou Yu felt the digestion of the star spirit fruit, his body was transforming. A voice suddenly sounded from Zhou Yu's side. Zhou Yu was startled by the sound. Open your eyes and look. A man with long pale blonde hair, an unruly expression, and sharp-edged cheeks stood impressively in Zhou Yu's training room. When that face came into view, Zhou Yu already recognized the person in front of him, the pride of Corn City State in recent decades. S-rank super genius, Alec. Before, Zhao Moshan told Zhou Yu, "Tell me that Master Alec will come to teach in person." Zhou Yu didn't expect to come so soon. Judging from the current situation where Alec came to him silently, but he didn't notice anything. No doubt, the strength of this Lord Alec is far stronger than what he looks like. Not to mention, this is also a transcendent master who once taught in the Sun Temple. Zhou Yu quickly stood up. "I've met Lord Kelia," Zhou Yu said respectfully. "Alec, from today onwards, I will be your mentor, guiding your practice. Come with me." Alec sized Zhou Yu up, and he said flatly. Alec, who had always been lazy, cheered up a bit at this time. He had obtained Zhou Yu's information before. Confirm that Zhou Yu is an SS-level talent. It is possible to be higher. Is there anything more interesting than torturing, Cultivating an SS-level genius. What's more, this is still a growth genius. Special students in life stability and defense. In this way, it is less likely to be injured. This is simply perfect experimental material. It is said that Zhou Yu's brain circuit is very different from that of ordinary people, and he has seen it just now. Practice manner. On the small square, Zhou Yu and Alec sat on the ground. Have you fought any other Transcendents? Alec asked. If the battle with Ian counts, then contact. Don't use this kind of fight between children as a fight. Alec corrected. That's no. Zhou Yu spread his hands. Very good. With zero combat experience, a blank sheet of paper, and a promising future. Zhou Yu, have you learned combat skills? There is a wind shadow slash. Show it to me. Zhou Yu stood up. Draw out the Blood Gang heavy-edged sword. Feng Yingzhan broke out. The sword followed the person, and the airwave was turbulent. Very good. Next time don't tell people that you will be killed by Cage. Zhou Yu. Okay. Alec restrained his expression, his momentum slightly lowered. The ultimate goal of fighting among Transcendents is to kill each other, and all means are for this purpose. As a Steam Knight, your speed is slow, your attack distance is almost zero, and your attack method is very simple. And the attack power is very weak, even if you have extremely high frankness and super defense. But on the battlefield, if you meet a Transcendent mage, he is proficient in various methods of teleportation, maneuvering and pulling, and long-distance explosive output, and you can't touch him at all. What should you do? Zhou Yu thought about it seriously, and then responded, then I don't care about him at all, because he is just scraping. Alec, then if it's an assassin, who comes and goes without a trace, and flees with one blow, you won't be able to touch him at all. What are you going to do? Alec asked again. Can't touch it. It shouldn't be. My 5000% accuracy is not a decoration, and this 5% accuracy talent can also be improved. If it is increased to 10%, it will be 10,000% accuracy. As long as the opponent is close, as long as I shoot, there is a high probability that I can touch the opponent. Zhou Yu was thinking, but obviously he couldn't say these words. If it's really impossible to touch him, I should be able to ignore him, because he is also scraping. Alec's eyes narrowed slightly. I understand it. When you were in school, you must not have studied well. Otherwise, why would you know this scraping vocabulary? Zhou Yu retorted helplessly. Mr. Alec, the conditions you described are all to the death of me, and they are all theoretical. Then I can only use my advantage to discuss the theoretical situation you mentioned. But the real battlefield conditions obviously shouldn't be like this. Zhou Yu spread his hands. Alec smiled. At least you still know the complex nature of the battlefield. I enumerate these situations just to let you know. As a Steam Knight with short hands, slow speed, and impressive attack distance, you will be aggrieved by the various scenes you encounter on the battlefield. The kind of defense you mentioned to resist the enemy's attack, the final result is that you become a sandbag. And to change that, you need to be an all-around knight. At least you can't have obvious shortcomings. Zhou Yu frowned. Hexagonal knight, Garen at 1,000 yards. Very good suggestion, I like it. So, Alex said seriously. I will need to train you in 3 aspects: long-range attack skills, melee fighting ability, and flexible assault speed. And that's at the heart of it all. You need to master powerful attack power. Without powerful attack power, then you will not be able to deter the enemy. Attack power. Zhou Yu thought about it, and then narrated. Alex Sr., my function is very powerful. Oh, Alec frowned slightly. Do you have an attack booster talent? My Transcendent talent is hidden, I don't know, but my attack does have a relatively large additional boost. Zhou Yu said. Alec smiled. This Zhou Yu's talent seems to be more powerful than he imagined. Hit me, but don't use the steam spirit, Alec said. Your offer is too good for me to refuse. Zhou Yu twisted his fist and smashed it down violently. Boom. There was a burst of air. Alec's face changed slightly. Actually is not saying Zhou Yu's attack hurt him. It's because he can clearly feel it. When this punch landed, the damage and power were not in the same order of magnitude at all. Deals explosive damage with extremely low power. There is no doubt that this Zhou Yu has a talent with a very strong damage increase. Now, Alec was a little excited. This Zhou Yu's talent is more exaggerated than he imagined. Not only has the growth talent of boss frankness, there is even a damage increase of more than 10 times. If it is raised in all directions, that would be too terrifying on the battlefield. A few more punches, let me see how your growth rate is. Alex suggested. No problem. Zhou Yu had no reason to refuse this request. Boom boom boom. After a dozen consecutive punches. Only then did Alec wave his hand to make Zhou Yu stop. He was thinking about the power and damage effect of Zhou Yu's explosion just now. At least 15 times more, judging from multiple bursts of power. It should be 16 times, about 17 times, close to 18 times. This damage increase is amazing. When he looked at Zhou Yu again, Alec knew, this time, I have completely picked up the treasure. This Zhou Yu might be a double SS talent, or even a super genius of double SSS talent. I was watching the news on the Transcendent battlefield in the Steam Daily in the City Lord's mansion. From those seemingly mediocre reports, Kano Koen was able to deduce the general situation of the battlefield. The situation is not optimistic. Kano Koen frowned. Master City Lord. At this time, Alec's voice suddenly sounded. Aren't you training Zhou Yu? How do you send it to me? Kano Koen looked up at Alec's direction. Naturally, because a major discovery. A major discovery. What major discovery? Zhou Yu, he has more than one invisible talent, it is a double invisible talent. He still has these 16 times, 17 times the additional damage increase. What? Kano Koen stood up in shock. 16 times, 17 times the extra damage, this is a talent close to the SSS level. This Zhou Yuhei. That's right, ha ha ha, this time, our city-state of Korn has found a treasure. Alec laughed loudly. Indeed, judging from this talent, this Zhou Yu is probably a double SSS talent, and there is also a new growth talent. This, if it is sent to the Temple of the Sun, I am afraid that it will be cultivated as a core seed. Kano Koen said in a daze. Not bad, but now, we can only cultivate it. So, my lord, don't be stingy with your little treasury anymore. All the resources that should be exchanged are exchanged, and I will also use my savings to cultivate this Zhou Yu with all my strength. Alex said. I'm afraid, even if it is like this, it may not be enough. Kano Koen was a little annoyed at this time. If Zhou Yu's damage boosting talent had been discovered earlier, they would have tried everything to send Zhou Yu to the Temple of the Sun. It's a pity that more than 20 days have passed before and after. There is no chance at all. How did the Transcendent Research Institute test it? Why hasn't such an important talent been tested? Kano Koen felt a little angry. He felt that it was necessary to talk to Hong Tianyi later and have a good talk. I understand. In 2 days, I will go to Tomahawk King City to buy some powerful transcendent skills that Zhou Yu needs. The transcendent skills that Zhou Yu needs, you should test Zhou Yu well to see what direction he is suitable for. Clear. With the end of the call with the City Lord, Alec looked at Zhou Yu with a strong smile on his face. Why does it feel like this guy is smiling maliciously? Seeing Alec's inexplicable smile, Zhou Yu became more and more worried about the safety of Own. What other specialties do you have? Tell them all, so that I can designate a better combination of transcendent skills for you. Specialty. Well, I am very accurate in hitting people, I don't know if it is a specialty, for example. Zhou Yu weighed the Shuigong heavy-edged sword in his hand, and then threw it out forcefully. Standing in place guarding Zhao Moshan. People stand in place. The sword comes from the sky. He watched the heavy sword flying towards his face. With a movement of his steps, he moved more than 10 meters sideways. However, that heavy sword was extremely fast, tumbling in the air, drawing a perfect arc. Bang! It hit Zhao Moshan on the head. Zhao Moshan. Alec's eyes burst into surprise. Some kind of precise talent. Must hit the talent, track the talent. I don't know. Zhou Yu directly blamed himself for hiding talent. 3 hidden talents are impossible. If it's a double hidden talent, high damage, and must hit characteristics, that may be a high precision hidden talent. 3% precision can increase damage by 1%. This damage is more than 16 times the damage. If converted to precision, it might be around 5000% accurate. Tisk tisk. It was an eye-opener. Sure enough, this ability to judge is indeed the pride of the Korn City State. Zhou Yu said secretly. At this time, Zhao Moshan picked up Zhou Yu's Blood Gang heavy-edged sword. Your Highness Zhou Yu, don't throw it around next time, maybe it will be gone next time. Zhao Moshan said meaningfully. I never thought you couldn't dodge. Zhou Yu said helplessly. Growing tank talent, powerful and almost terrifying precision, what else have you not said? Alec looked at Zhou Yu and said. There are too many secrets about Zhou Yu, he must squeeze out everything from Zhou Yu. It's gone, it's really gone. Zhou Yu spread his hands. You sure? Zhou Yu thought about it seriously, then shook his head. Other than these, I really don't know. After all, if my hidden talent doesn't trigger in this aspect, I don't know myself. Alec nodded after thinking for a while. Indeed, this hides the talent. If you don't use it in this way, you really can't be discovered. Talents such as fate, transcendent characteristics, or some karma laws are difficult to discover. Then for the time being, use these aspects of yours as the benchmark. Build you into a super all-around knight. In this way, when you enter the battlefield in the future and fight with transcendent powerhouses from other ethnic groups, you will be able to perform adequately. Then now, let's start with the most basic attack action. Hearing that Alec was going to officially start teaching combat skills, Zhou Yu also cheered up. Even talent is powerful. It also needs to study hard to be able to play it perfectly. Koan City State, Genius Training Base. On the huge battle square. The pace between Tenno. Zhou Yu kept waving the Shuigong heavy-edged sword in his hand. Every swing of the sword contains Zhou Yu's most primitive basic power. This is a purely physical attack. Does not carry any steam source power. In the movement of each sword and step, Zhou Yu absorbs the essence of steps, movement and fencing meticulously. Attack, fix, comprehend, progress. This is the only thing Zhou Yu has done these days. And for the learning of these basic attack movements and basic steps, Zhou Yu's progress can be described as lightning fast. Zhou Yu himself was amazed at the speed of progress. On the first day, he mastered all the 36 basic attacks and more than 1,200 subsequent changes. On the second day, in terms of coordinating the pace and attacking movements, Zhou Yu could draw inferences from one instance and play freely. On the third day, Zhou Yu already felt that those movements had penetrated the bone. Even the movements of walking, eating and drinking, were all in line with the charm of the pace and attack, and they all had a taste of Transcendent. But after thinking about myself as a hacker, I was relieved. Originally, Zhou Yu wanted Alec and Zhou Yu to teach him more. For example, practical experience and so on. But Alec told Zhou Yu, combat is the best teacher. But now is the time to lay the foundation, after the foundation is solid. In future battles, if Alec gives certain pointers, Zhou Yu will naturally understand. Now teach Zhou Yu more fighting skills and fighting experience. On the contrary, Zhou Yu didn't understand it deeply enough and wasted time. Food needs to be eaten bite by bite, and cultivation also needs to be done step by step. Zhou Yu naturally believed in Alec's words. After all, this Alec is a superpower who is qualified to teach many S-level geniuses and even SS-level geniuses in the Temple of the Sun. The super mentor officially certified by the Temple of the Sun. That guy Zhou Yu has been practicing sword practice for more than 2 hours, isn't he tired? At this time, other people who were also on the cultivation square were discussing in low voices. They have already rested 3 or 4 times in these 2 hours. Zhou Yu, on the other hand, seemed to be a machine that didn't know how to get tired. I heard that Zhou Yu's sequence is a steam knight. In itself, the knight has great stamina. And the steam knight even has a steam spirit body, which roars and supplies him with power. A steam sequence is a never-ending fighting machine. Steam sequence. I want this sequence too. At least an S-level talent is eligible to inherit a powerful sequence, and Ian is not qualified to inherit it. As far as we are concerned, don't even think about it. Hey, why are you always pulling my sleeves? The warrior who spoke angrily yelled at his companion. Immediately, the soldier felt the gaze of his companion. Looking back, I saw that Ian was standing behind them. The soldier shrank his neck and ran faster than anyone else in a desperate manner. Looking away from the fleeing 2 people, Ian looked at Zhou Yu who was practicing his sword. He unconsciously clenched the sword in his hand. Talent is high. It just means that he cultivates fast and grows fast. Theoretically, his ceiling is higher than yours. At this moment, behind Ian, the voice of his mentor, Lucas, sounded. Teacher. Ian salutes Lucas, but it doesn't determine that his achievements will be higher than yours in the future. Pay more sweat and more time to practice hard, throw away some irrelevant things, and devote all your experience to cultivation. You have a chance to surpass that Zhou Yu. Do you understand? Understood. Ian nodded solemnly. Unknowingly, the sword in his hand gripped even tighter. It's good to have an opponent, it allows you to have precise goals. Catch up with Zhou Yu, or even surpass Zhou Yu, this is your goal. Work hard towards this goal, even if there is only a 1 in 10,000 chance of surpassing him, you have to work hard to seize it through own. I see, teacher. Ian, who had short ash blonde hair, said in a firmer tone than ever before. Alec, with his hands in his pockets, came to the training square slowly. It has to be said that Zhou Yu's performance satisfied him more than Zhou Yu's talent. Although others are not here, but by some other hand short. He has been following Zhou Yu's cultivation all the time. As for Zhou Yu, he has never been lazy in the slightest. Even the self-discipline made him a little unbelievable. If it is said, what he saw was 4 o'clock in the morning, the appearance of the schoolgirl in her sleeping position. Then, what Zhou Yu saw was the city-state of Qin at 4 o'clock in the morning. 18 years old. It is the moment of youth. When he was 18 years old, he went to the Temple of the Sun and secretly dated his junior in the dark forest in the back mountain. He even skipped class secretly in order to buy the ocean-flavored ice cream that schoolgirls like to eat. Pity, his schoolgirl abandoned him when he graduated. Then, among the many SS-level geniuses in the next session, he selected a junior who was more handsome and talented than him, and as a senior, he showed great concern. Whenever he thinks of the lost youth, Alec sighs endlessly. Although he dated 3 schoolgirls and 2 schoolgirls at the same time. But the fact that the junior girl dumped him still made him sad for about 3 seconds. If this guy went to the Temple of the Sun, he might be dazzled by the colorful world. The most correct choice is to sway own sweat here. Alec thought so. Zhou Yu, come here. Alec's voice sounded. Zhou Yu moved his steps. Cage Zan moves with his heart. The 3 wind shadow slashes Zhou Yu landed precisely 5 meters in front of Alec. Accurate, indiscriminately represents Zhou Yu's high hit effect. At the same time, it also represents meticulous operation. Feng Yingzan was accommodated by this kid and entered the form of own attack. Digest and decompose skills, and then integrate them into own attacks, this kid's talent can do it. I remember that it took me about half a year to master these skills. Zhou Yu is only 3 or 4 days old. No, he didn't practice this wind shadow slash 2 days ago, so he mastered it from yesterday to today. This talent. If I wanted this talent back then, that junior girl would definitely not leave me. Teacher, Zhou Yu said respectfully, this is the Transcendent skill you will learn today. Speaking of which, Alec threw a Transcendent skill scroll to Zhou Yu. Zhou Yu opened the scroll and pasted it with one hand. Open black lens bracket Transcendent skills close black lens bracket. Jump. Quality. AA grade. LV. Level 0. AA level jumping skills. Feeling this AA level jumping skill, Zhou Yu was startled. This is too extravagant. Transcendent talent. Need to wake up. Transcendent skills, on the other hand, need to be learned the day after tomorrow. Although transcendent skills do not determine the height of the transcendent ceiling like transcendent talent does. But for the battle of transcendence, it determines the comprehensive strength of transcendence. Therefore, transcendent skills are very valuable to transcendence. Just this AA level jumping skill. For Zhou Yu, that is also an astronomical figure. Starting today, the transcendent skill of jumping has been added to your practice. Alec narrated. Jump. It is the embodiment of a very complete set of transcendent rules. The form is jumping, but the essence is the release and utilization of transcendent rules. What you have to do is not superficially jumping high and far, but mastering the transcendent rules contained in this skill, digesting and absorbing it, and mastering it. When you have perfectly absorbed and comprehended the rules, then do all kinds of incredible jumping rules. For example, a high jump from the ground up, jumping directly above the clouds. Zhou Yu was startled. Jump above the clouds. Teacher, are you sure this is a jump? Ignoring Zhou Yu's interruption, he continued to talk. Jumping in the Transcendent rule system, no one stipulates that after jumping up, it must fall on the ground. I landed in the air, it's reasonable. Even if I jump continuously in the air, there should be no problem. Zhou Yu. Then we took this jumping skill a step further. After I jumped, no one stipulated when to land. It's okay if I jump up for an hour before landing. Zhou Yu was dumbfounded by Alex's narration. You are not jumping, you clearly want me to take off. Alex smiled. That depends on how you understand and use it. These forms of jumping I have described, this is called the rational use of the Transcendent rule. Master it, and then use it at a deeper level. You have to remember that in the rules of the Transcendent sequence, the night sequence does not have the ability to fly. And we need to be good at using this jumping skill. As long as you have a strong enough grasp, even on the basis of this rule, you can further comprehend the Transcendent rule in this aspect. It's not a problem to jump hundreds of kilometers in one step. Understood, teacher, Zhou Yu said seriously. Of course, in the early stage, you definitely can't jump that far. So what you have to do at this stage is to jump fast, extremely fast. One jump, spanning 20 meters, 50 meters, or even hundreds of meters in an instant. Even during a jump, turn to jump, attack in the middle of a jump. Even integrating the Transcendent characteristics of jumping into own pace. That way, you can have unbelievable speed. The legs are not strong enough, jump to make up, understand? Understood. Zhou Yu nodded cautiously. When jumping is the skill, the power of the rules goes deep into your body, the cells of your whole body. Even when integrated into the Transcendent sequence. Even if you are dead, your corpse can jump up by itself. Then it shouldn't be called jumping up from the corpse, it should be called cheating on the spot. Zhou Yu slandered. Okay, let's practice. Alec waved his hand. Soon, on the training square, Zhou Yu appeared busy jumping up and down. At the beginning, Zhou Yu could only rely on his skills to jump to about 10 meters. But as he mastered it, Zhou Yu's jumping distance began to get farther and farther, 12 meters, 15 meters, 20 meters. At the same time, Zhou Yu started jumping faster and faster. 10 meters away, 1 second to jump. 12 meters away, 1 second to jump. 15 meters away, 1 second to jump. With practice, Zhou Yu quickly mastered the Transcendent feature of this Transcendent skill. And start using it proficiently. On the square, there were quite a few people watching Zhou Yu's leaping Transcendent. Looking at Zhou Yu's mastery of jumping skills, the speed of improvement is so fast. Many people were astonished. The envy is beyond words. I have been practicing jumping for more than half a month, and I have only jumped 10 meters. This Zhou Yu can jump 10 meters from the start, and the whole process is very fast. People are more popular than people. This Zhou Yu danced for more than 20 minutes, isn't he tired? He's just a training machine with no emotions. This statement immediately won the approval of the people around. People, it cannot be compared with a machine. And it's still a roaring steam machine. Someone added. Ian, who was practicing the sword, looked at Zhou Yu, who was jumping and making great progress. Suddenly, he felt that the sword he practiced was not good. Teacher, can I really catch up with such a freak? The practice time of wanton sweat. Just like passionate youth. Unknowingly, it passed by. Zhou Yu didn't even feel much. Half a month passed like this. For half a month, Zhou Yu's level increased rapidly. Reached 10th level. At the same time, every night, the beautiful summoner with a sweet voice and a proud figure will come to the door to perform the summoning service. Let Zhou Yu increase the frankness of the own attribute at an extremely fast speed. As the level increases, Zhou Yu's ability to absorb attributes also begins to increase. 200, 300. To this day, Zhou Yu absorbed a total of 420 dark creatures' supplementary attacks. It makes the body feel full. Zhou Yu reckoned that own frankness, 6,000 times, should be there. As life frankness, physical defense, and soul defense, after the Zhou Yu Transcendent level is improved. The effect became more and more astonishing. After all, it is only the ordinary life frankness that has just begun to absorb and transform. And when Zhou Yu himself began to transform into Transcendent, the absorbed natural flatness attribute will naturally change in the direction of Transcendent. After all, this is the nature of growth attributes. Changes as life forms change. Zhou Yu is in the cultivation of transcendent skills. It is still in the form of taking off, making rapid progress, and it cannot be stopped. Zhou Yu is also after acquiring the first powerful transcendent skill, ushered in the second, third, and even the fourth transcendent skills. And every transcendent skill, none with Alec's supervision. Zhou Yu is practicing assiduously. If Zhou Yu is really just an 18-year-old boy, then Zhou Yu might not be able to do such a dedicated penance. Zhou Yu knows better than anyone else how to behave in 2 lifetimes. In this transcendent world, strength is the only truth. Although the usual Zhou Yu is out of tune. But when he was practicing, Zhou Yu was undoubtedly serious and assiduous. It was past 6 o'clock in the morning. Zhou Yu, who was bathing in the sun, brandished his blood-gang heavy-edged sword. With a wave of the sword. Big sword, with Zhou Yu's thoughts surging. A huge golden sword with a height of 20 meters descended from the sky, as if a god had descended into the world. Rumbling, the ground trembled slightly. Under the impact of the sword's edge, the ground was just filled by Zhao Moshan and his guards yesterday. A huge gully was torn apart again. Big sword. Zhou Yu swung his sword again. It was another palpitating huge sword edge, brilliant and mighty, which made the earth tremble. This is Zhou Yu's fourth transcendent skill. S-rank, Sword of the Holy Tribunal. Possesses extremely powerful beheading characteristics. It can directly kill the enemy and take it away. It has powerful attack power, has a certain attack range, and it also has a powerful beheading effect, Sword of Holy Judgment. There is no doubt that it is a very powerful transcendent skill. But this S-level transcendent skill also has disadvantages. The first point is that it consumes a lot. Even for the transcendence of the steam sequence, such a move will directly give a fifth, or even a quarter of the own transcendent steam. After releasing it several times, it is estimated that there is no way to continue fighting. Therefore, for others, this is often a bottom-of-the-box trick, a desperate move. But for Zhou Yu, drain transcendent steam, non-existent. Huge and amazing steam space as the level grows. Now, it has expanded to about 3 times its previous size. As for the amount of recovery, every breath is afraid of being the entire energy of the legal steam sequence. Huge and surprisingly thick transcendent steam. Massive resilience. Supported, Zhou Yu can unleash powerful tricks that others dare not easily release. Besides, the Sword of Holy Judgment has another shortcoming that cannot be underestimated. That's a little less accurate. This thing takes a long time to swing forward. Falling from the sky, it takes time. If the enemy is on guard, or cannot catch the enemy. When the big sword cuts down, it often cuts a loneliness. And Zhou Yu, who has super precision. This is obviously not a problem. In the transcendent world, unless you have a locked talent above S rank. Otherwise, those powerful means with latency. As long as the enemy is not stupid, they will dodge. And Zhou Yu's precise talent perfectly makes up for this shortcoming. If you want to dodge, you must first ask my 5000% accurate talent whether to agree or not. Moreover, Zhou Yu has already planned to increase this 5% accurate talent. If it is an S-level skill, then Zhou Yu wants to improve it, and there is no similar resource here in the Corn City state. But this skill is essentially just an ordinary E-level skill, so it's relatively easy to improve it. And there is a lot of room for improvement. No need to increase much. Increased to 20% accuracy to reach the D-level limit. Under 1,000 times increase, that is 20,000% accuracy. At the same time, Zhou Yu's damage increase will reach an exaggerated 60 times. It is the Sword of the Holy Judgment with a very high killing line. If it is increased to more than 60 times, I'm afraid, full blood is the line to kill. Practice the skill of Own over and over again. Gradually, some other transcendent geniuses began to arrive on the cultivation square. Did Ian still not come today? His eyes flicked over the many geniuses who practiced. Zhou Yu thought lightly, it's been a while since I started practicing. Zhou Yu was also able to see Ian's figure. But that guy didn't come after that. What Zhou Yu didn't know was, Ian practiced with Zhou Yu, and soon his mentor noticed that something was wrong. Zhou Yu put too much pressure on Ian. Same jumping skill. Zhou Yu's 1 hour is even more astonishing than the results of his 10 days of cultivation. The huge blow plunged Ian into deep despair. As a result, when cultivating, there has been a phenomenon of regression. His mentor wisely chose to let him practice alone. At this stage, it is better not to compare with Zhou Yu, this freak. This is the correct choice. Student. Just when Zhou Yu was about to unleash the great sword again, a clear voice like a lark sounded behind Zhou Yu. Zhou Yu's sword was a little unsteady. The holy swords that fell from the sky were all a little off. Alec, who was hiding in the corner, couldn't help sighing when he saw this scene. Sure enough, women only affect the speed at which a man draws his sword. Zhou Yu sheathed his sword and turned around. What catches the eye is the C-rank senior, Diana, in a light blue skirt, white stockings, and black flat boots. I don't know if Zhou Yu is hallucinating. The C-level senior seems to be developing in the direction of the D-level senior. Sister Diana, why are you here? Have you forgotten what day is today? Zhou Yu thought about it seriously. Today is your birthday, senior. Stupid. Today is the day when our Genius Academy of Koan City-State communicates with the genius students of several other city-states around. Diana said angrily. When senior sister said that, I remembered it. I still remember that senior sister said that she would take me to the exchange meeting. Zhou Yu said. Diana blushed slightly. I just said this casually at the beginning. Who knows, you turned out to be a hidden talent, and you became the most dazzling genius in our Corn City-State. Recently, people discussing you are almost everywhere. If this is the case now, I don't need you. You are invited, Diana whispered. Even if you are a genius, you should be ranked behind the senior sister's invitation. As a knight, how can you not keep your own promise? Zhou Yu said with a righteous face. I'm going to change into my uniform right now. Let's meet those gifted students who are visiting. Zhou Yu said. Well, they're coming soon, Junior, hurry up. Clear. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe.